See, scholars, those who are here after clearing SB 101, congratulations for your promotions. And those who are unfortunately got acing by any XYZ reason, for them, no need to get disappointed. You are requested to just focus on the content and definitely things will improve soon for you. There is no rocket science. SB 201 is not actually very much difficult. Just you have to pay some attention. So well, without wasting time, it will be good to start the session. And we are going to take the things one by one in a proper manner. So first of all, I'm going to share my screen to you. SB201, this is day number 01. And now it's a good time that I can share my screen to you. And initially, I will set a broad context that what exactly we are going to discuss in this entire block. And then we will talk about the remaining part. So let me share my screen to you. Yeah. You all are requested to please update if both the audio video signals are okay. That's good. That's nice. So first of all, a block consists of 4 aspirant. And if I'm talking about the aspirant number 1, in the aspirant number 1, we will discuss about, you can say that the main thing that is what actually referred as the spring core. In the spring core, actually, a lot of topics are available that I will discuss to you. For example, let's say that we will talk about the loose coupling. I will discuss to you what is the mean of the tight coupling is. Thereafter, one very important thing that actually is going to be discussed to you almost in every interview is going to be the dependency injection. And with the dependency injection, actually, we are going to discuss about the inversion of control also. After this, I will tell you that how to actually configure a project using XML configuration metadata. And after having discussion about the XML configuration metadata, I will have discussion to you about one more approach that is called the annotation based approach. In the annotation based approach, further 2 things are available that I will discuss to you. And after having that discussion, then we will talk about the bean life cycle to you. And apart from having the discussion about the bean life cycle, then I will discuss to you about the scope of the bean and some such kind of things also. Almost this is something that actually we are going to discuss in the aspirant 1. And apart from that, I will discuss to you about one more thing that is called the web architecture. In the web architecture, I will mainly discuss to you architecture of a distributed application. So this is actually, you can say that we are talking about a coarse grain view. Not I'm talking about a fine grain view. Fine grain view will be open to you as the sessions will progress. Then if I'm talking about the aspirant number 2, in the aspirant number 2, the main topic is going to be the Spring Boot. The main topic is going to be the Spring Boot. And after having a discussion about the Spring Boot, then I will have a discussion to you. And in the discussion of the Spring Boot, I will talk to you one extremely important topic that is actually referred as the auto configuration. And apart from having discussion about the auto configuration, then actually as the sessions will progress, I will talk to you that what exactly the meaning of auto configuration is. We will have a comparison between the Spring versus the Spring Boot is. And then actually we will talk about one more thing that is referred as the Spring Web. After having discussion about the Spring Web, then I will talk to you about some specific things, what exactly the mean of a REST controller is. And once the discussion about the REST controller is done, then actually we will talk about further things, like specifically how to handle the exception. I will discuss to you about the exception handling in Spring Boot. And definitely then few more pointers are available that I will discuss to you, that is referred as the bean validation. Yeah, bean validation is also important part that actually we will discuss with you. Lump sum, this is something that will be discussed in the sprint number 2. Then after going to the sprint number 2, in the sprint number 3, the core topic is available that is referred as the Spring Data JPA. Spring Data JPA is something you can right now consider that it is actually, you can say that we have to use this instead of Hibernate. Hibernate Sprint 4 association mapping. Everybody feel terrible? Yes or no? Association mapping, one-to-many relationship, many-to-one relationship, unidirectional, bidirectional, many-to-many relationship, one-to-one. Then everyone, after that Spring Data JPA, we have to use this instead of Hibernate. Here actually I will talk to you about some, you can say that basic things, and one of the things that we will discuss is going to be the CRUD operation. And after I'm talking about the CRUD operation, then actually we will discuss about the few more pointers, that actually how to implement the concept of pagination and sorting. And apart from the pagination of and sorting, then we will discuss about, you can say that, association mapping also we will discuss. Then the next point is available where we will talk about some specific third-party API. There is a project available that is referred as the project Lombok. Apart from the project Lombok, then we will discuss about the Swagger. And apart from the Swagger, then I will talk about one more thing that is called the logging in Spring Boot. This is what your Sprint 3 is going to be. Then comes one of the most crucial. The one of the most crucial is going to be Spring Security. One of the most crucial is going to be the Spring Security. And if I'm talking about the Spring Security, then in the Spring Security, I will discuss to you about first thing that is referred as the basic authentication. And apart from the basic authentication, then I will discuss to you about something that is actually referred as the course, that is cross origin resource sharing. Cross origin resource sharing is something that I will discuss to you. Apart from the course, then I will discuss to you about one more thing that is referred as the CSRF. And CSRF actually stands for cross-site request forgery. It is a type of attack, but how to actually overcome this issue, that actually I will tell you. So this is referred as the cross-site request forgery. And after the cross-site request forgery, then finally I will talk to you about one more type of authentication. And this type of authentication is actually referred as the JWT authentication. This type of authentication is referred as the JWT authentication. And definitely the Sprint 5 is going to be your construct week. Definitely the Sprint 5 is going to be your construct week. This is what exactly the thing we are going to have. Today is the 25th. Normally a block actually lasts for approximately, you can say that, 35 days. So lump sum, actually we can assume that this block is going to last approximately to 26th of August, including the construct week. And if I'm talking about the project, then in construct week, definitely you have to do a project. And if I'm talking about the assignment that you are going to specifically get from week number 2, in the week number 2, the assignments that you are going to have, they are actually, you can say that, a small part of the project. You have to integrate all your assignment in the same project. When you complete all the assignments, then you will find that yes, a good size of project is already created by you. Getting my point? Yes or no? That's nice. So what we are going to cover, initially one broad overview I have provided you. If you people wanted to ask anything regarding the SB201 content or anything else, you can write on chat. Otherwise, I will directly proceed on today's session. Well, okay. Okay. So seems almost no doubts are there. If you want me to proceed for content coverage of today, please write one on chat. That's very nice. That's very nice. Hey, okay. Everybody using websites? Yes, definitely everybody is using websites. Okay. So today I'm going to start with a very interesting topic that you will actually like. You can say that one of the most, and you will actually see that yes, a lot of information is in this topic that actually we are using in our day-to-day life, but we were unaware about the same. So the very first thing that actually I am telling you is, okay, see, when we are talking about the web, then definitely, okay, first thing, let me start with, if I'm talking about the web, can I say that it is same as internet? Or whenever I'm talking about the web means triple W, that is World Wide Web. Whenever I'm using the term that is called World Wide Web, can I say that World Wide Web is what your internet is? Yes or no? Update your response. If agree, then write 1 on chat. If not agree, then write 0 on chat. Mostly during the entire batch, you have to answer in the terms of 1 and 0. 1 is for positive remark, 0 is for negative remark mostly. Okay. Some 7 to 10 responses I have received out of some 30 scholars. You all are requested to be active on the chat. Otherwise, I have to unmute anyone randomly. So the very first thing, everyone, that actually I'm talking to you, it's all about the World Wide Web. And when I'm talking about the World Wide Web, then please always keep one thing in your mind. The thing is that everybody, if I'm talking about the internet and if I'm talking about the World Wide Web, they are not same. They are not same. What is the mean of they are not same? So let me start actually things one by one. First of all, everyone, if I'm talking about the internet, then internet is something that is actually created by one person, and that person is referred as the Vint Cerf. Approximately, you can say that it was 1984 when actually internet first time comes into the existence. And what exactly the history is, I'm not going to dive detail into about the history, but main thing is that everybody, you can say that approximately in 1984, Windsurf created a huge network, and that huge network is what actually referred as the internet. Initially, it was available for only few organizations. Approximately, you can say that 1987, 1988, it was the time when actually internet becomes public, or internet was actually available for public. Internet was actually available for public. Now, internet is available for public. So let me actually ask you a few questions one by one. You have to again answer in the terms of 1 and 0. 1 is for true, 0 is for false, or 1 is for positive, 0 is for negative answer. Using internet, can you send an email? Definitely yes. Using internet, can you download or upload a file? That's nice. Okay. Using internet, can you access contents available over a website? Yes. Using internet, can you control someone's system? Answer is yes. You might have listened about the AnyDesk app. You might have listened about many team viewer, etc. So using that, the internet, actually we can do a lot of job. The job can be all about sending the email. It is all about, you can say that dealing with the files. It's all about, you can say that dealing with the content of a website, or it's all about actually, you can say that dealing with the system of other. This is everything that actually we can do very, very easily. No problem. Okay, let it be. No issue in that. Now, actually, the thing arises that if I'm talking about the internet, so simple definition of the internet is that actually it is a network of network. Simple definition of the internet is it is going to be that is a network of networks. If I'm talking about the founder member, or if I'm talking about the father, then the father is Windsurf, he internet in the year of 1984. 1897 is the time when actually internet become public, or you can say that it is available for general public. Now what happened? If any resource is available on the internet, then to access that resource on the internet, we all are using URLs, very much like http://www.masaischool.com. Yes or no? Common URLs that we are using is http://www.masaischool.com. That is what actually we are using. So very first thing, everyone, that you always keep into your mind. If I'm talking about the triple W, such that the triple W that actually refer as the World Wide Web, this is not an internet. Actually, it is a service that is running on the internet, and you can say that this is most widely used service on the internet. That's why people often, you can say that, misinterpret. It will be good to say that people often misinterpret that internet and triple W are same. But always keep in mind that internet actually has a lot of services on the services on it. Lot of services are available on the internet, and World Wide Web is one of the service that is running on the internet. So difference between internet and World Wide Web, is that clear? That's good. Now a few more things that actually you should keep in mind, that how exactly triple W is created. And here the interesting thing is that if I'm talking about the father of triple W, then father of triple W is something that is referred as Tim Berners-Lee. Father of triple W is Tim Berners-Lee. Okay. How many of you know this person? Nobody. Okay. Have you listened about language HTML? Tim Berners-Lee is father of triple W. Tim Berners-Lee is father of HTML. Actually, when the Tim Berners-Lee was creating HTML, so he come across one common problem. The common problem is that if we wanted to access any resource that is available on the internet, then we have to remember the URL. Like in our case, how many of you actually remember the URL of backend specification on Masai School website? Almost nobody. Almost nobody. We actually remember only one URL, that is masaischool.com. And after going to masaischool.com, we used to do one thing. Directly, we used to click on the courses. And after clicking on the courses, then we have to scroll down. Then suddenly information appears that first two units are common. Then we have to talk about backend, and then we have to talk about front end. So this time, actually, the thing is that everyone, even if I'm talking about simple website that is masaischool.com, even on the simple website that is the masaischool.com, lot of information is available. And out of that lot of information, I just have to remember only one URL. Later on, to reach to a specific destination of the information, I have to just do the concept of clicking. I just have to do the concept of clicking. Getting my point, everyone? And if I'm talking about this concept of clicking, so can I say one thing that, sir, when actually I am clicking? See, this is the URL that right now available. And if I'm clicking on the courses, can you see one thing, that the URL is getting changed? Answer is yes. Again, right now that URL is available. If I'm clicking on homepage logo, then the URL is getting changed. So this time simply can I say that I am remembering only one URL. And after remembering only that one URL, I am actually just clicking on further links to navigate from one web page to another web page. Yes or no? We are actually migrating from one web page to another web page without actually remembering the URL. So can I say that here the crucial concept is all about the concept of links, something that is clickable text, such that the clickable text actually take me directly to some different resource. Can I say this thing? Yes or no? It can take me to some different resource. This is what actually referred as the link, and this is something that is actually referred as the hyperlink also. So when actually the Tim Berners-Lee was creating the HTML, so he realizes that remembering all the URL is not feasible for the human mind. Why not better to create the concept of the clickable text, or why not better to create the concept of link? When he created the concept of link, so what happened? I created my own website. On my website, I am once if the user is coming by remembering the URL, then immediately the complete navigation is available for him. He just have to click on the links and he will be able to go to any point of my website without remembering any URL. Similarly, let's say that if I am having integration of the Twitter plugin, I am having integration of Instagram plugin, I am having integration of some XYZ plugin, then user do not have to remember my handle URL. Just he has to click on that link and immediately he will jump to the URL. So don't you think that with the concept of link, the navigation among the web pages or the navigation among the web resources turns very, very easy? Yes or no? Waiting for more responses. If you are lazy, then I am. Six or seven responses are here. For remaining scholar, good morning. Please pay attention in the class. This is extremely important one. And then everyone, Tim Berners-Lee actually integrated the same concept of link in the HTML also. So now what happened? On a single web page, I can easily find out link to 10 different web pages, no problem. And if I'm talking about these 10 web pages, then possibly that these 10 web pages are actually pointing to 50 different web pages. Yes or no? And these 50 different web pages in turn pointing to some 500 different web pages. These 500 in turn pointing to some 2500 web pages. Then they might be pointing to some 10,000 web pages. These 10,000 web pages might be pointing to some 1 lakh web pages. These 1 lakh web pages might be pointing to some 25 lakh web pages. And you can see that actually there will be a huge net of links such that if you are available on a one page, then actually you can migrate through infinite, or you can say that very huge number of pages. So can I say that it is something that is very much same as structure of a spider web? That is the beauty of the spider web. If the spider is able to mount on a single thread, it can actually traverse the entire web very, very easily. And due to this analogy, this was actually termed as World Wide Web. So World Wide Web is not internet, it is just one service that is actually running on the internet. But the thing is that, but the thing is that because this service is mostly used, that's why people used to think that triple W and internet, they are the same thing, which is not actually the case. Which is not actually the case. Okay. Now I'm going to discuss about the next thing. And if I'm talking about the next thing, then if I wanted to identify anything on the internet, then definitely to identify any resource on the internet, to identify any resource on the internet, we have internet. Actually, you can see that we have to use the concept of URL. Yes or no? To identify the resources on the internet, we have to use the concept of URL. So let me take an example of the URL. Can I say this is an example of the URL? That is https://www.masaischool.com/courses. Let's say that specifically if I'm talking about the software development, then if I'm talking about the development, thereafter actually you can see that one more thing is available here. So if I'm talking about the URL, then URL actually referred as the uniform resource locator. URL actually referred as the uniform resource locator. So https://www.masaischool.com/courses/software development-full-time. This is what URL is available. Now let me talk about the format of the URL. In the format of the URL, the first thing is available that is referred as the protocol, colon, double slash. Then the one thing that we have to mention is the subdomain. The next thing that we have to mention is going to be the domain name. After domain name, we have to mention the next thing that is actually referred as the top level domain. After the top level domain slash, then actually we have to mention path of the file or path of the resource that actually we wanted to access. Path of the resource that actually we wanted to access. So here everyone, if actually I am talking about that analogy, then by looking at this analogy, can I say that if I'm asking about the protocol, so protocol here is HTTPS. If I'm talking about the concept of subdomain, then www is the subdomain. If I'm asking to you what is the domain name, then definitely you can say that's a domain name is going to be the Masai school. If I'm talking about the next thing that is called the top level domain, then definitely the top level domain is going to be com. And after this, if I'm talking about the next part, such that the next part that I'm talking to you is the path of the resource, then the path of the resource in this condition is going to be courses slash software development full time. Is that analogy clear, everyone? Every part is okay? That's good. Now, if I'm talking about the top level domain, then if I'm talking about the top level domain, then mainly it is used to tell about the nature of the web application organization. Or you can say that it is used to tell about the nature of the organization. If it is com, then the com extension actually mainly refer to commercial organization. This is actually referred as the commercial organization. It can be a company. It can be any organization that actually works for the profit. If I'm talking about the ORG, then the ORG is actually available for non-profitable organization. It is something that is available for non-profitable organization. So let me take an example. For example, let's say that if I'm talking about the Wikipedia, in case of Wikipedia, can you say that if I'm talking about the top level domain, then the top level domain is org, not .com, because Wikipedia is a non-profitable organization. Is that clear? Similar to that, everyone, there is one more thing available that is called .gov.in. .gov is for government and definitely IN is for Indian. So it is something you can say that it actually refer to the website of any Indian government institution. It is actually for Indian government institution. For example, let's say that I'm talking about the Postal Service of India. So for example, let's say that I'm talking about the Postal Service India. Then in the Postal Service of India, you can see that the URL available is indiapost.gov.in. So by just looking at the URL pattern, one can easily actually identify that what type of organizations actually we are having website for. So wikipedia.org, thereafter we have taken example, this is masaischool.com. So top level domain actually give you just an indication about the country of origin of the website or about the, you can say that nature of the organization. You might have listened .in extension, you might have listened about .fr extension, you might have listened about .au extension. So they are the country specific extension. You might have listened about .us extension. Specifically when you are starting Zoom, then it is zoom.us. So there are extensions available that actually you can use. So there are country specific extensions available here. Country specific extensions available here. So this is what actually your top level domain is. Apart from the top level domain, everyone, if I'm talking about the domain name, then definitely the domain name is actually used to identify the site name on the internet. It is used to identify the site name on the internet. Like, can I say a very, very simple thing that masaischool.com is already reserved. So if I'm going to take masaischool.com, or if I wanted to occupy the domain name masaischool.com, what do you think? Will it be available for me? No, definitely no. Why? Because this domain name is already occupied by Masai School organization. Once the domain name is actually occupied by any organization, then definitely the domain name is occupied whenever it will be available for free. For example, let me say that whenever the subscription period over, it may be after 1 year, it may be after 2 years, it may be after 5 years, then actually domain name will be actually available. So domain name is actually used to identify the site name on the internet. Okay. For every organization, or you can say that it is unique for every, it is actually unique for every website. This is one thing that is available. Then if I'm talking about the next thing available, the next thing is actually referred as the subdomain. And if I'm talking about the subdomain, then actually it actually specify the type of service that you are accessing. It specify the actually service that you are accessing. And multiple subdomains are also possible. For example, let's say that if I'm taking the very simple example, then the very simple example, let's say that we are talking about mail.google.com. We are talking about, let's say that drive.google.com. Let's say that we are talking about images.google.com. Then we can talk about, let's say that video.google.com, anything. So overall, can you see that google.com is fixed? But if I'm talking about the subdomain part, then the subdomain part is actually kept changing for every type of service. The same is in the masaischool.com, oj.masaischool.com, course.masaischool.com, placements.masaischool.com, etc. Lot of different type of things are available. So there can be any number of subdomains available in the single domain. And if I'm talking about the mostly used, then definitely the mostly used is going to be triple W. This is what actually mostly going to be. Thereafter, then the one more thing is available, and this one more thing is actually referred as the protocol. This is one of the most important thing. This is one of the most important thing. Okay, first, what is internet? What is triple W? What is the difference between triple W and internet, and why actually it is called World Wide Web? Is that part clear? How to identify a resource on the internet? Format of the URL. What is the meaning of top level domain? What is domain name? What is subdomain? Is that part clear? Yes, it is. That's good. So example is there, protocol is there, subdomain is there, domain name is there, top level domain is there, path of the resources there. Now actually I'm going to discuss to you about the last part, that is actually referred as the protocol. Very important thing. Okay. Here definitely the value of the protocol is HTTPS. You might have listened about HTTP. You might have listened about SMTP, POP3. You might have listened about Telnet, FTP, SFTP, etc. So very first thing. Okay, let me take a very simple analogy what exactly the protocol is. Say you are actually, let's say that placed in a very good company away from your hometown, and possibly in the season of Diwali or any vacation time period, you are, let's say that, available at your home. When you are actually available at your home in this condition, when you are coming to home, then definitely parents are there. So what is our way of starting the communication? When you are reaching to your home, then definitely feast touching or in any local language greetings is something that you can say is a formal way of starting the communication. Then you are going to start the communication. After starting the communication, then whatever be the chit chat is there, it will go on. And let's say that the vacations are over. Once vacation is over, then definitely in the local language or by the feet touching, we used to bid the parents, and thereafter we are coming back to our workplace. This is the first way when I was talking to you about starting the communication as well as ending the communication. Second number case, for example, let's say that somebody falls sick and you wanted to take that person to the doctor. If it is a, you can say that reputed doctor, lot of patients are there, then what do you think? Can you directly move to the doctor's cabin? Answer is no. The very first thing is that first of all, we have to book an appointment. Their assistants will provide us the exact time when actually doctor will be available for us. You have to take the appointment, then you have to reach to the doctor's house, or you can say that workplace, at the specified time period. After reaching to the specified time period, then actually you have to do one more thing, that you have to just first go to the counter. You have to take you can say that register yourself. You have to pay the fee. Then actually you will go to the doctor's cabin, and thereafter you have to go to reception and so on. This time again, if I'm saying that, don't you think that there is a specific way to start the communication? Answer is yes. There is a specific way to start the communication. Answer is again yes. So overall, the pointer is that everyone, whenever we are talking about the communication between the two different person, then there is a standard way to start the communication and there is a standard way to terminate the communication. And this is something what actually referred as the protocol. Simple definition of protocol is that protocol is a way of regulating the communication, or protocol are rules to govern the communication. They are rules to govern the communication. Is that clear? What is the meaning of protocol is? So when we are meeting with our friends, then it's a protocol, yes or no? When we are meeting with friends, then handshaking, or you can say that actually hugging to one another. This is again one of my way of, you can say that accessing. Then everyone, we are talking about the next thing. And if I'm talking about this time on the internet, can I say that two different machine wanted to communication? One machine is your personal laptop and another machine is the server on which actually content of the website is available. So protocol is available here also, but this time the protocol is not all about communication among the two human entities, but the communication between the two different machines this time. It can be communication between the two different machines. It can be communication between the two different services running on your local machine. So whenever we are talking about rules and regulations that are related to communicating with the communication among the two entities, then we have to talk about protocol. And if I'm talking about the commonly used protocol, then definitely among the commonly used protocol, we have to take discussion about the very first common thing, that is HTTP. Apart from the HTTP, one more thing is available, that is called HTTPS. Apart from the HTTPS, the protocol is available that is called SMTP. SMTP is for mailing service. One more protocol is available, POP3. It is for receiving email. SMTP is for sending the email. POP3 is for receiving the email. One protocol is available, FTP, file transfer protocol, that is used for uploading and downloading the content. Apart from that, there is protocol available that is called SSH, secure sharing protocol. Apart from that, there is SFTP protocol is also available. Telnet is also one protocol that is available. And almost each of these protocols you are actually using for a very, very long time, such that might be that you are unaware how exactly this is working. But we all are using these protocols since the day number one. We all are using these protocols since the day number one. So this is one thing that is actually available here. Now, talking about the next part. Okay, sir, this is done. This is done. So protocol is HTTPS. So whenever I'm talking about the HTTP and HTTPS, then it is all about the web service. Is that clear? Whenever I'm talking about the HTTP or HTTPS, then always keep in mind that I'm talking about the www or I'm talking about the web service. Is that point okay? Yes, it is. That's good. Then going to the next part. And if I'm talking about the next part, so actually regarding URL, we come across what is HTTP, what is HTTPS, etc., etc. A lot of discussion we have already done. So listen to me very, very carefully now. Whenever you wanted to access any service available on the internet, then mainly we used to go by web browser. Yes or no? As a client, we are using web browser mostly. Clear? 90% cases we are using web browser. Hardly in few cases we are using desktop application also. Like we are using the desktop application of the Zoom. We can use desktop application for WhatsApp. We can use desktop application for Spotify. So multiple different type of clients are available. But if I'm talking about one of the most commonly used client, then definitely the one of the most commonly used client is going to be the web browser. So this is the web browser available in front of you. And into the web browser, can I say there is one thing available that is actually called address bar. And in the address bar, actually, I have to type the URL. Yes or no? Okay. So please focus on one diagram that is actually very, very crucial and actually very, very easy. That is actually very, very crucial and actually very, very easy. If I'm talking about here the first thing, then the first thing is available that we are having one thing that actually this is a client machine available. And on the client machine that let's say that this is a simple client machine available. And in the simple client machine, we are having nothing special, just you can say that computer is available. And on this computer, I am actually writing the word. The word is going to be client. The word is going to be client. What is the mean of the word is going to be client? Let me say you. So for example, see simple logic. If I'm talking about the client server, then always keep one thing into the mind. Or if I'm talking about one very common thing that actually we all know. Can I say that anybody who is demanding the service, can we call it a client? Anybody who is demanding a service, can we call it a client? Like you are demanding service for me. That's where we wanted to get Spring Boot taught. Please provide your services. So right now in this condition, you are the client. And definitely the person or the entity who is providing the services, can I say that that person is going to be a server? The machine or the person or the entity that is providing the services, that is going to be server. Okay. So right now there is one computer is available and I'm calling this computer a client computer because this is demanding the service. And if I'm talking about on the client computer, the software that I'm going to use, that is going to be web browser. Clear? This is going to be a web browser. Okay. So web browser is available, client is available, web browser is available there. And let me actually talk to you about few more cases. If the web browser wanted to send a request to the server, then definitely what it has to do? It has to hit the URL. Yes or no? It has to use the URL. Yes or no? http://www.masaischool.com. This is what URL it has to hit. Once it is actually hitting the URL, into the URL, what type of protocol actually we are using? Either we are going to use HTTP protocol or we are going to use HTTPS protocol. Is that clear? Either we are going to use HTTP protocol or we are going to use HTTPS protocol. What is the mean of protocol? Sir, protocol is used to govern the communication. So can I say that protocol is responsible for conveying the message from client to the server? And it is responsible for conveying the response from server to client. Can I say this thing? Is that okay? Simple logic. Now actually I am talking about the next part. And the next part is going to be. The next part is going to be. So here actually, whenever we are hitting the URL, then after the hitting the URL, then definitely first of all, the request will go to the server, and the request that is going to the server, we would love to call it that this request is going to be a HTTP request. Is that clear? Whenever we are sending the request from client to the server, then this is something that is actually referred as the HTTP request. Is that clear? Okay. Now actually the HTTP request, it will be go to the server. How actually server will be identified? The server will be identified first using the domain name. The server first will be identified using the domain name. So the thing is that everyone, the very first thing that is going to be executed here is, okay, this thing is available. Then actually we are reaching to a machine. The name of the machine that I'm calling is going to be a server. So server is a machine that will actually accept the request. It will actually accept the request. And when actually it is going to accept the request, so there is a big box available that actually I am drawing for you. And there is a logic why exactly I am drawing that big box. But don't worry, you will understand everything very, very shortly. You will understand everything very, very shortly. So there is a big box available, and this big box is what actually I am calling a server. This big box actually I am calling a server. Okay. So client is available, and there is one more thing available. This thing is what actually referred as the server right now. Request is first of all going to the server, and how exactly the server will be identified? Server will be identified using the domain name. Server will be identified using the domain name. So now the request is available on the server. When the request is actually available on the server, then everyone, one thing that actually you will find, one thing that actually you will find, there is a folder available on the server. That folder is actually referred as document root. That folder is actually referred as the document root. What is the use of document root is? Document root is a folder that is used to contain all the content that you wanted to get accessible to the public. document root is a folder that is used to contain all the content that you wanted to get accessible for the public. So can I say this is like a public directory? Yes or no? Can I say that document root is a public directory? Everybody clear? The folder that is containing all the content that you wanted to get accessible by public, this is what actually referred as your document root folder. So first folder is available. I am naming this folder, that is the name of the folder is going to be a document root folder. So document, DOCUMENT, the name of the folder is going to be the document root folder. And after the document root folder, then actually you will understand one more thing. The document root folder, in the document root folder, a lot of files are available. And mainly if I'm talking about the extension, then definitely the extension of the file is going to be .html. Apart from that, one more file is available. The name of the file is going to be .css file. And apart from the CSS, then JS, etc. files are available. Okay. Very simple question I am asking you. You all have went through Web 101 batch, SCF, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Can I say one thing, that web browser understand HTML language? Yes or no? Yes, it is. One more thing, can I say that HTML is used to define the layout of the web page, but whenever we are talking about the decoration of the web page, then for the decoration of the web page, we have to take help of the CSS. Yes or no? Yes, it is. And everyone, if I'm talking about the slightly making anything interactive, then to make a web page interactive, we have to use the concept of JavaScript. Clear? For example, form validation, changing the images, or creating the slider, etc., etc. For this thing, what actually we have to do? We can do a very simple thing, sir. We have to use the simple, you can say that JavaScript. So if the HTTP request is sent, if it is a plain HTML, CSS, and JavaScript page, then definitely there is no processing is required. And when no processing is actually required in this condition, we can say a very simple thing, that we are going to get the response, and the response is going to be in the form of HTTP response. Is that clear? This is going to be in the form of HTTP response. So can I say that in the form of HTTP response, HTML and CSS file will be provided to the web browser? Now it is responsibility of the web browser to draw these web pages on the screen so that user can read the content. Clear? That's nice. Have you created HTML pages? Yes, HTML, CSS you have created. Did you know that how to apply the inline CSS, internal CSS, external CSS? How to use event handling in the JavaScript, document object model? That's nice. That's nice. That's nice. Then definitely you will find this very interesting. Okay. So first of all, HTML, CSS, whatever pages are available, they will be provided in the form of HTML responses. Okay. So those who have created HTML pages, they know one thing very clearly, that sir, whenever we are creating the HTML pages, all information we have to write down in the HTML file. Yes or no? Yes. And whenever you are writing information in the HTML file, and in future, let's say that client is demanding you that you are requested to change some information in my web page, then definitely first you have to download the information from you have to download the web page from your server. Then you have to make the corrections manually. And after making the corrections manually, then you have to re-upload the same web page. And then actually changes will be reflected to you and to the public. So can I say that client does not have any control over the content? He has to take help of the developer to make changes. Yes or no? Perfect. Yes, it is. Okay, so can I say that HTML page is a static page? Why static page? Because it is not getting content from any third party. All the content is directly available within the HTML file. And whenever the content is written into the HTML file, it does not require any processing. Directly the HTML page will be provided to the web browser, and Mr. Web Browser will directly draw the web page for you. So the pages that you are writing using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, they are actually referred as the static pages. Is that point clear? So about the static pages, I am writing few pointers. The very first pointer is that it is actually created using simple HTML, CSS, and JS. Okay. And definitely we can say that all information has to be written in the same web page, in the web page. And definitely we can say that to change the information, what we have to do, things that we have to do is step number one. First, you have to download the page from server. Step number two, then definitely you have to make the, you can say that necessary changes. After making the necessary changes, then definitely you have to upload the page on server. Overall, the mantra is that IE, IE, IE. The client actually, or you can say that means end user, means you can say that site admin, means the site admin does not have any, you can say that control over content, and he has to take help of developer to, you can say that change the content or to update the content. Okay, few more pointers that I'm going to write down. Few more pointers that I'm going to write down. A static page created using HTML, CSS, JavaScript. All information has to be written within the web page, and definitely to change the information, we have to download web page from the server, then make necessary changes, then upload the page on the server. Okay, first of all, if I'm talking about the HTML static pages, then can you see one thing that actually there is no server side processing is required? Yes or no? Because your server is actually working just as a storage container. Your server is actually working just as a simple storage container. It says that, okay, I'm accessible on the internet. I'm having the HTML pages. You provide me the request. I will provide you HTML pages as a test to you. Now it is responsibility of your web browser to draw the web page. I am just a storage container. I'm containing the web page. I will provide you web page on demand. Is that point okay? Everyone clear? Yes, it is. So no server-side processing is required. If no server-side processing is required, then can I say that if I'm talking about the loading, then definitely loading is going to be very, very faster. Yes or no? Because there is no processing. Okay. And because actually it is something you can say that simple to develop. It is something simple to develop. And we can say one thing that actually they require less time and skill to develop. These are what few properties of the static pages that actually I have told you. Now listen, very common thing. If I'm talking about Gmail, assume a situation. I'm talking about Gmail. I'm on Gmail. I have actually composed an email. And after composing that email, I am sending that email to, let's say, you. If I'm sending an email to you, then don't you think that the page that is containing sent items of my account, that page is actually updated? Yes or no? If I am sending an email to you, then the page that is containing all the sent emails, the page will be updated for my account. Similarly, let's say that I have sent the email to 20 different scholars. So the inbox page of all the 20 scholars will be updated simultaneously. Yes or no? Make sense? It will be updated simultaneously. Make sense? Yes, it is. And because it will be updated simultaneously, so the one very basic thing that actually I am telling you, do you think for Gmail it is a practical? There are more than 10 crore users available. More than 1 billion mails are exchanged per day. And in such condition, maintaining Gmail application with the help of static page. Do you think it is practical whenever I'm sending an email, somebody is downloading my sent items, he is making changes into the HTML, re-uploading. In the same time, he is downloading the 20 different web pages of your inboxes. He is making the changes and then he is uploading. Do you think it is practical to do that? 100% no, we cannot do that. Similarly, you can take any example. For example, let's say that if I'm talking about stock market, in the stock market, the rate of the stocks is going to be changed within a fraction of seconds. And if something is going to change within a fraction of seconds, then do you think it is possible to update the things. Actually, you can say that in every milliseconds, impossible. This is beyond the human capacity. This is beyond the human capacity. Similarly, we can take example of ESPN.cricinfo.com. In the ESPN.cricinfo.com, if we are saying that score is getting updated ball by ball, and not only a single thing is getting updated, commentary has to be updated, record of the bowler has to be updated, record of the batsman has to be updated, record of the inning has to be updated, record of the entire team has to be updated immediately just when one ball is being thrown. So actually, changing information so frequently, it is something that is not practical with the help of static pages. Clear? Everyone clear? So can I say that creating the static page is simple? Creating the static page require less skill, static page require less time for loading, but still they are not more than a useless entity nowadays. Can I say this thing? Yes, it is a kind of useless entity nowadays. Not exactly useless, but kind of useless, because very less chances are there that you will get a chance to develop a static application. Almost nobody demanded this as of now. I have never developed a static application so far. It has been a long time period. So this is what actually your static page is. So dealing with the static page is actually not possible. And if you wanted to serve the static pages, so I can say one thing, that to serve the static pages, only web server is sufficient. Only web server is sufficient. A web server is a server that understands HTTP request and it is used to deliver the content. That's all. Only web server is sufficient. Oh, and if I'm talking a web server, actually understand HTTP protocol. This is one thing that actually I am right. So creating this thing is practically not possible. This is purely nonsense to talk about the static application nowadays. So what should we do? We should talk about applications where user is having more control over the content, where user is having more control over the content. Getting my point? Definitely. Okay. Just a simple example. If I'm talking about the LMS, then what do you think? The LMS platform of Masai School, is that a static application? Definitely no. If I'm talking about the OJ platform, is that a static application? Answer is no, definitely. We all are dealing with the dynamic application since we have started using the internet or generation. Since we have started using the internet, we are dealing with the dynamic websites only. Okay. So now actually there is one thing available. If I'm talking about the HTML, so one comment that actually I can write down about the HTML plus CSS. HTML plus CSS, actually you can say that they are very much like beauty without brain. Why I'm using that phrase? Because if you are asking HTML that what is the result of 2 plus 2? What do you think? Can HTML answer this? What is the result of 2 plus 2? Answer is no. HTML is not capable to answer this. If I'm asking the HTML 10 is more than 5, is 10 more than 5? Can HTML answer? Answer is no. If I'm talking about the HTML, or I am asking that, do you know what is the concept of object? HTML says, I don't know. HTML says that I know tags only. Using the tags, you can create the structure of the web page. I'm going to the CSS and I am asking the CSS, can you tell me what is the result of 2 plus 2? Answer is going to be mute. No reply. If I'm asking the CSS, is 10 more than 5? Mute. No reply. Why there is no reply? Simple logic is available. That's sir, every time, whenever we are talking about such kind of things, so they says that we are actually presentation oriented languages. We do not have any concern with the logic. Is that clear? Yes, it is. Then actually one more language comes into the existence. That language actually referred as the JavaScript. And if I'm talking about the JavaScript, then always keep one thing into the mind, that JavaScript is something that is actually very, very strong language, but this was not designed to interact with the server directly. Initially, it was designed to provide some basic processing capability to the web browser. For example, let's say that if you wanted to perform the form validation, instead of going to the server, it is better directly to write down or execute the code to check for the form validation on the browser side. Simple interactive things you wanted to do them with the JavaScript, but JavaScript is not a very strong language that you can use for the server. No. Nowadays, situation is slightly changed, but JavaScript was not created with that intention. Then everyone, HTML plus CSS is there, beauty without brain it was. So how to create dynamic page? By looking all that discussion, can I say that using HTML, CSS, only static page can be created, but dynamic pages cannot be created here? Yes or no? Yes, it is. That's good. So when it comes to creation of the dynamic pages, when it comes to creation of the dynamic pages, then for the creation of the dynamic pages, we have to discuss a lot of things. A lot of different ways are available. Okay. Have you listened about ASP? Just listening. I'm not saying that how to use. Have you listened about ASP, JSP, PHP, Python, Django? Any name have you listened? Node.js. Have you listened about Node.js? Have you listened about Express.js? Yes. They all are used to create the dynamic applications. They all are used to create the dynamic application. Okay, one more thing. Do you know database? Do you know database? Yes, everybody knows database. In the SB 101 recently, you have gone through MySQL database. You know SQL, you know database. So RDBMS is something that actually you are using. Let me ask a very simple question. Do you see HTML, CSS, they are beauty without brain? Why? Because there is no logical processing. Because there is no logical, and you can say that arithmetic part included. No logical or arithmetic part actually included. INCLUDED. Okay. Second number point that actually I am writing here is, second number point that actually I am writing here is, it is not able to communicate with the database. Not able to communicate with the database. Okay. So can I say, sir, even if the information is available in the database, then using HTML, we cannot access that information? Answer is true. Answer is true. So there is demand of something that actually can help us. And if I'm talking about the demand of something that actually can help us, then the answer is going to be some server side language we have to use. And that server side language is going to be any language. It can be PHP, it can be Python, it can be JavaScript, it can be any other. So a lot of possible options you can have. So the above example initially, or the above diagram I discussed to you, that diagram is all about the static pages only. Now everyone, if I'm talking about the dynamic pages, if I'm talking about the dynamic pages, then in case of the dynamic pages, the situation is entirely different. The situation is entirely different. Okay. So see, just a simple example I have drawn in front of you. And by looking at this example, you might have a discussion that yes, sir, web server is available there. The public folder is actually referred as the document root folder. And using the document root folder, one can actually easily access content that, or one can easily provide the content that one wanted to make public. Let me actually reformat this slightly. Yeah. Oops. Yeah, that's better. I'm not very good in drawing, but you can manage, I think. Okay. So now we are talking about the dynamic pages. In case of dynamic pages, first of all, the extension is not going to be plain HTML. Actual extension of the page can be .php. It can be .jsp. The extension can be some .asp. Any extension is possible. I'm not saying that the extensions are limited to only this, but the point is that any extension is possible in this case. So when I'm talking about that any extension is possible in this case, then the point is very simple to say. The point that is very simple to say is actually, see, document root is there. This time HTTP request is going, and the page can be PHP page, it can be JSP page, it can be a ASP page. Let it be whatever it is. Overall, can I say this time it is not a plain HTML page? Yes or no? Can I say this time it is not a HTML page? Now there is one more point that I am writing to you. In JSP, comma, or PHP, oblique, ASP, oblique, etc. etc. You can actually write the HTML code along with the programming code, along with the programming code. And if I'm talking about the programming code, then definitely the programming code is capable to communicate, COMMU, communicate with the database also. So this time everyone, if I'm talking about the extension .jsp, so simple logic that you understand, that's a .jsp means Java plus HTML. Is that clear? If I'm talking about JSP, then JSP is simple. Right now you can understand that's where we are talking about the Java plus HTML. Similarly, everyone, if I'm talking about the PHP, then in the PHP code is available definitely, but apart from the PHP code, HTML code is also available there. Similar to that, everyone, if I'm talking about, let's say that Django, that is a framework of Python. It is nothing special. We are having the code of Python plus HTML. So can I say that HTML will be there, but this time the extension of the file is not HTML. This time the extension is actually programming specific. First point is clear. First point is clear. Okay. Now simple question again I am asking. If I'm directly providing the ASP, JSP or PHP page to the web browser, my web browser understand HTML, my web browser understand CSS, but do web browser understand Python or Java or C Sharp? Any comment on this? Do your web browser understand any specific programming language? Definitely answer is no. The web browser does not understand the programming language. So simple logic. Can I directly provide the ASP page to the web browser? Definitely I cannot. Definitely I cannot. So this time everyone, whenever the request is coming for PHP, ASP or JSP page, so immediately what is going to be there, that request will actually be provided to one specific component, and this specific component in case of Java programming is referred as the servlet container. In case of other programming language, it is something that is referred as the CGI system. And what exactly the role of this component is? This component is actually having a very important role. It says that don't worry about the programming languages. It says that don't worry about the programming languages. No need to worry. We are capable to understand the programming language. So whenever you are sending a request, in that request, if there is any programming code available, then please provide the programming code to us first. Please provide the programming code to us first. So there is one special software component is available. That software component is referred as the servlet container in case of Java. And in other applications, it is actually referred as the simple CGI system. And if I'm talking about the servlet container, so the servlet container actually is a component that understands servlet. So I am talking about the servlet container. So servlet container is a specific software, or you can actually give it another name also. The another name that actually I am writing is going to be CGI, Common Gateway Interface. CGI actually refers to the Common Gateway Interface. So if I'm talking about the servlet container or CGI, it is responsible for processing of the programming code. So servlet container, or I am talking about CGI, full form of the CGI I am writing, this is going to be Common Gateway Interface. Common Gateway Interface. So I am talking about, so this is actually responsible for, actually you can say that processing of the programming code. Processing of the programming code. It actually, you can say that converts the programming code, CODE code, output to the text, programming code output to the text that actually can be, you can say that embedded into the HTML. That can be embedded into the HTML solution. For example, let's say that you are having simple loop. The loop is printing the counting from 1 to 10. So first of all, when the request is stated here, let's say that it is a JSP page, immediately the JSP code will be provided to the servlet container. The servlet container will execute that Java code and the output that is 1 to 10. Can I say that it is a text value? The output 1 to 10 that is generated after execution of a simple for loop in the JSP page. Can I say that the output is going to be a plain text page? Yes or no? This plain text can be directly integrated within the HTML tag. So can I say that, sir, actually we are hitting a JSP request, but in response, I am not getting the JSP. In the response, I am getting purely HTML and CSS. Yes or no? Because all the programming code is actually processed by servlet container or the CGI system, and the servlet container or the CGI system says that, okay, don't worry, what I need all the code. I need all the code. Give me the code. Okay, no problem. Code is available to me. In response to the code, it will apply some processing. And after applying some processing, it will provide us the response. And if I'm talking about the response, then definitely the response is going to be in the form of plain text. Is that clear? The response is available in the form of plain text, and the plain text will be integrated directly into the HTML. So overall, if I'm talking about the available HTTP response, then can I say one thing, that available HTTP response is going to be something that is HTML plus CSS plus JS, and there will be no programming code available there. Is that clear? So for your web browser, no matter whether you are accessing a static page or you are accessing dynamic page, always your browser is going to receive HTML and CSS. This part is clear for everyone? Is that part clear for everyone? Yes, it is. That's good. Similarly, everyone, let's say that if I'm talking about the JSP, so JSP is all about Java plus HTML. So can I say one thing, that Java is able to communicate with the database using JDBC. So definitely JSP page will also be able to communicate with the database. Make sense? Yes or no? JSP page will also be able to communicate with the database. Yes or no? Yes, it is. And because the JSP page is again able to communicate with the database, so in this condition, if there is any SQL available, so this time programming say SQL is not my cup of tea. Whatever be the SQL syntaxes are available, directly we will provide the SQL syntax to the database. Directly, we will provide the SQL syntax to the database, that is also referred as the DB, that is also referred as the collection of data. So first of all that information will be provided to the database. Once the information is actually available to the database, then Mr. Database will say that, okay, no need to worry, no need to worry, no need to worry. According to your demand, whatever be the information available, that information will be shared to you. And okay, see, simple logic. Did you remember JDBC? In the JDBC, whenever you are writing a select query, then the result of the select query was a result set. Yes or no? The result of a select query was a result set. Did you remember this thing? Yes, that's good. Now going to next part. Okay. So in the server, I have taken the discussion. So there is one more component available. This component is referred as the DB, or actually referred as the database. So whenever you are dealing with the DB or the database, then you are getting the SQL as the input. But on the other hand, if I am talking about the output, if I am talking about the output, then can I say you one very, very simple thing. And the simple thing that I can understand is, this time the output will be available to me in the form of array, or it will be available in the form of object. Is that clear? Is that clear? Yes, it is. So overall, everyone, now try to understand. Let's say that we are requesting a dynamic content. And if I'm talking about a dynamic content, then in case of the dynamic content, what happened? We are requesting a page such that the page is a JSP page. First of all, the JSP page will be served to the browser directly, or first it will go to the servlet container. Option number one or option number two? Option number one, it will go to the web browser directly. Option number two, it will go to the servlet container. Please tell me. Yes, it will go to the servlet container. Let's say that some SQL statements are available in your JSP page. So the SQL statement will be processed by the servlet container, option number one, or they will be provided to the database, option number two. Please tell. That's good. And definitely whenever some SQL query is provided, then the result of the SQL query is going to be in the form of array or object or an integer value. Yes or no? You have already witnessed the same thing in the JDBC. Execute update method, the result is always going to be integer. Execute query method, the result is always going to be a result set. What is the result set? It's an interface. So what exactly we are getting? We are getting an object. So can I say that result of the query is going to be either a primitive value, or it is going to be a integer or object? Yes or no? Yes, it is. then this array or object will be provided to the servlet container again. Servlet container is finding that yes, array object, it is programming. So servlet container will process every array and object, and it will convert the same into the plain text. That plain text will be embedded into the HTML, and your web browser is going to get the HTML and CSS response plain. Is that point clear? Everyone, is that point clear? That's nice. This diagram is common no matter whether you are going to learn Python, whether you are going to learn JSP, whether you are going to learn ASP, whether you are going to learn PHP, no matter, this is going to be something common. And this time, everyone, if I'm talking about this server, then to this server, I'm not going to use the term web server, but instead of that, I'm using the term that is referred as the application server. So can I say that application server is something that is more powerful than the web server? Simple logic. Yes, it is. Web server is just actually understand the HTTP request. It is a kind of container. It does not have any processing capability. But if I'm talking about the application server, then definitely the application server is having a lot of processing capability. It is actually having a lot of advantages for us. So if I'm talking about the comparison of the application server and the web server, then for the comparison directly, I will share this link with you. So directly I'm coming to a website, and you can see that this is a very good website, medium.com. It provides long but very useful articles. So directly start reading from here. See here. Application server is a term that sometimes mixed with the web server, while a web server actually handle mainly HTTP protocol. The application server deals with the several different protocol, including but not limited to HTTP. Including but not limited to HTTP. So can I say that the first difference is all about that, sir, whenever we are talking about the application server. So application server actually can handle multiple protocols. Yes or no? A web server can handle only HTTP protocol, but if we are talking about the web server, then definitely the web server can handle web server can handle only HTTP protocol, but if we are talking about the application server, then the application server can handle multiple protocol. Okay. Next thing, application server can do whatever web server is capable of, because most of the application server have web server as compulsory part of the same. So can I say that application server is the superset of web server? Can I say that application server is the superset of web server? Simple logic. So we can say one thing, i.e. that we can say that application server is the superset of web server. Okay. Then everyone, let me talk about the third point. Application server deliver dynamic content, but web server deliver the content using static HTML. Is that part also clear? Application server deliver dynamic content, but if I'm talking about web server, they deliver the static content. So that's why in the last example, I was talking to you that it's a web server. But when it comes to the dynamic application, then I was talking to you that it's an application server. Clear, everybody? Then everybody. Web server only host web-based application, but the application server can have enterprise-based application also. Here, actually, I will take a pause and will explain you what is an enterprise level application. So for the example of Amazon.com, what you would love to say? It's a web application. Answer is yes. But is it better that we should call it an enterprise level application? Isn't it better that we should call it an enterprise level application? Yes or no? If I'm talking about the banks, accessbank.com, retail.online, sbi.com, can I say that they are definitely web application, but mainly they are the enterprise applications? Clear? And whenever we are talking about an enterprise application, then in the enterprise application, a lot of different things are there that we have to take care. For example, can I say that whenever we are talking about a banking application, then we have to put a lot of emphasis on the security? Yes or no? Definitely yes. And it often happens that if I'm talking about the banking systems, then in case of the banking system, might be possible that in the working hours, the server is access too high, but in the night time, the server is actually, or the load on the server is barely 20 to 30%. So we have to perform the load balancing also. Yes or no? We have to perform the load balancing also, so that actually application should not crash in the peak hours. Application should not actually fluctuate during the, you can say that, niche hours. Similarly, everyone, if I'm talking about the transaction management, then in case of banking application, we have to manage transaction applications. Yes. Once actually one person is transferring the amount, then definitely during the transaction, no other query can be performed on this account. Have you gone through transaction management in JDBC? Yes. Have you gone through transaction management in Hibernate? Entity transaction, et.begin, then em.persist, thereafter et.commit, et.rollback. Yes, it is. That's nice. That's nice. That's nice. So everyone, the enterprise application require all that functionalities inbuilt. Because it require all the functionalities inbuilt, that's why this is going to be a simple application server or web. This is simple. What actually application server is providing you. So can I say that apart from providing the web services, application server is actually providing us lot of services to develop an enterprise application. Is that clear? That's why we are calling that application server is a superset of web server. Then the one more point is available, that actually the application server uses multi-threading to support multiple requests in parallel, but the web server does not support the same. Application server facilitates longer running process that are very resource intensive, but web servers are facilitates web service that is not very resource inclusive. Is that point clear? Yes, that's good. That's good. That's good. So this is something that actually you must keep into mind. This link I am providing to you, and there is an image available. Using that image, you will be able to understand the things in a better manner. Is that okay? Everyone, from this diagram, what is web server and what is application server? Is that clear? Whenever it comes to generation of the dynamic content, always talk about the application server. Always talk about the application server. This is something that actually you always have to keep into your mind. Okay. And apart from this, everybody, one more URL is there that actually I'm going to share with you. The second URL is also containing the same information, but in a, you can say that point wise point, almost same it is. Opening the URL in front of you, application server and the web server, and you can see that content management, multi-threading process, server basics, future scope of both, everything is available. So you can read from here this URL also. I find this very easy to understand. That's why I have included this to your in-class content. This is what I have included. Okay. So finally, before going to the break, let me talk about what exactly the dynamic page is. Let me talk about what exactly the dynamic page is. And if I'm talking about the dynamic page, so can I say that dynamic pages are created using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, plus some programming language? Yes or no? Or can I say that they are, yes, created using HTML, CSS, JS, plus with some programming language, because they are create some programming language, and information in dynamic pages is not available in the page, but it is actually coming from some processing or from or from database or from some other source. Overall, the thing is that everyone information is not available in the page directly. Okay, simple logic. Can I say this thing that in case of dynamic page, the user has actually more control over the content, or we can say one thing that user can change the content very easily. This is the second thing that actually we can writing. One more thing. Last time, user has more control over the content. User can change the content very easily, and definitely no need to make changes in the code. No need to make changes. One more thing, if I'm talking about server side processing, so definitely we can say that server side processing is there. So definitely, if I'm talking about the loading time, then definitely the loading time is going to be slower. If I'm talking about the dynamic page, then definitely dynamic pages are something you can say that complex to develop, and definitely they require more time and skill to develop, definitely. To serve the dynamic pages, to serve the dynamic pages, dynamic dynamic pages, actually, we can say that we actually need application server. We need actually application server. Difference between static page and dynamic page, is that clear? Difference between static page and dynamic page, is that clear? Yes, it is. That's good. So everyone, it's time for your break. And then I will come back to this point and have a few more pointers to discuss with you also. So see you back again at 1:05. Okay. See you back again at 1:05. Okay. So about the static pages and dynamic pages, we had a long discussion. Now just I'm taking one very simple example. What exactly that simple example is? Let's say that if I'm talking about very simple, or you can say that very basic example of a mailing application. Say that we have an email application that is actually created using dynamic pages. So first, actually, I'm talking to you about the database. So if I'm talking about the database, then into the database, we are having one table. And let's say that name of the table, I'm writing the name of the table is going to be users table. Into the users table, if I'm discussing to you about the columns, then the first column is going to be, let's say that ID, that is the user ID. Then we are talking about name. After name, we are talking about password. Then we are talking about the email. Then we are talking about, let's say that registration date. After registration date, we are talking about the last login. After the last login, we are talking about, let's say that is active. And after the is active, then we are talking about, let's say that is deleted. This is what something that actually structure is. Let's say that I'm talking about one user. The name of the user is ABC, password, whatever it is, let it be available as it is. Mail ID, I'm writing abc dot at the rate or a at the rate a dot in. Registration dot date, for example, let's say I'm writing 2022-05-25. Last login, let's say that we are writing this is going to be that one, let's say. Thereafter, everyone is active, we are writing 1, is deleted, I'm writing 0. First record available, second record available, third record available. So just actually making the minor changes. Here the name of the person is going to be PQR. Here the name is going to be XYZ. So here this is going to be B at the rate B dot in. This is going to be B at the rate B dot in, and C at the rate C dot in. Start date, registration date, etc. They do not matter so much for me. So is deleted, etc. is available. Okay, first point. This first table, everyone, can I say this table is used to store the detail of the users? Yes or no? Can I say this table is to store the detail of the users? Yes, it is. Thereafter, everyone, I am talking about one more table. The name of the table that I'm writing is mails table. Into the mails table, first thing I'm writing is ID. Thereafter, the point that actually I'm writing is sender ID. After the sender ID, then I'm writing the thing is going to be that is the receiver ID. After the receiver ID, I'm talking about the message. After the message, I'm talking about attachments that are available in this email. Thereafter, we are talking about, see, deleted by sender. Thereafter, one more flag I am writing, the flag is going to be deleted by receiver. And after the sender and deleted by the receiver, then we are going to talk about one more thing. Let's say that date of message. Now just assume a situation. For example, everyone, that the first user whose name is ABC, it is sending an email to the user whose name is PQR. So say the message ID is 1, sender ID I am writing 1, receiver ID that I am writing is 2. Message, for example, I am writing some ABC. Attachment, let's say that not available, deleted by user. First point. If let's say that user 1 is sending the message to the user 2. So can I say that sent items page of the user 1 will be updated? Yes or no? Sent items page of the user 1 will be updated. Is that clear? Okay. Similarly, everyone, inbox of the user 2 will also be updated. Yes or no? Yes, it is. Message body is already available. Attachment is already available. So initially the message is new. Let's say that neither the sender has deleted nor the receiver has deleted the email. And if I'm talking about the date of sending the email, then the date of sending the email is going to be this one. Is that clear? Just one entry is available in the database, but this one entry that is available in the database, it will be reflected in the two different web pages. Yes or no? And how this is happening? This is happening with the help of programming. Because, for example, let's say that when person 1 is making login, in such condition, very simple point, that sir, if we are talking about the inbox item, then inbox item will be updated. How it will be updated? Sir, in case of inbox item, using the center ID, mails will be fetched. But on the other hand, if I'm talking about the user number 2, that is PQR, if it is clicking on, sorry, if I'm talking about, let's say that user number 1, in case of user number 1, using the sender ID, sent items will be updated. For the user number 2, using the receiver ID, inbox items will be updated. This time, let's say now again, one more user, user number 2, he is sending the message to the user number 3. Message ID, let's say 2. This time, can I say that sender ID is 2 and the receiver ID is going to be 3? If I'm talking about the message is some YUI and the attachment is a.txt. Is that deleted by sender? No. Is that deleted by receiver? Answer is no. If we are talking about the sending date, then let's say that the sending date we are writing is of today. So this time, everyone, can I say that for the user whose ID is 2, he is having one message in the inbox and he is having one message in the sent items? Yes or no? He is having one message in the inbox and one message in the sent items. Clear? Okay. When actually user 1 is sending the message to the user number 2, do I need to download HTML code and make changes? Or actually my programming code will automatically read the data from the database and it will generate the proper page accordingly? Automatically, case number 2, yes or no? Case number 1, somebody is going to do everything manually. Case number 2, programming code can do this job. Yes, so the programming code can do this job. So now actually by looking this, can I say that database is actually storing the information that we are going to display to the user? Yes or no? Database is actually containing the information that we are going to display to the user. Yes, it is. So can I say this is a dynamic page? Can I say that the page that is to be displayed to the user will be a dynamic page? Yes, it is. So from this example, how exactly Gmail application is working, is that clear? Behind the scene, everywhere, database is actually working. Yes or no? Everyone clear or not? Four or five replies I have received so far. 4 to 5 replies I have received so far. Let me unmute someone randomly. I just wanted to check whether people are sleeping or they are actually listening. A few names that are available on chat, except I am actually picking some name randomly. To some scholars, I have asked to unmute the mic.
Yes, sir.
To many, I have asked to unmute the mic to many scholars. Yes, Sagar, clear?
Yes, sir.
What I'm teaching you. Chandan,
Yes.
Ravi, Utkarsh,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
any doubt?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Be
No,
active
sir.
on chat, everybody. Okay. Okay. So this is one part that actually we have done. Then what is the difference between the application and web server? This is another part that actually we have gone through. So in your notes, mostly actually we are having all that thing, but slightly into the different manner. And actually here, everyone, when specifically I'm talking about the Java, This is actually some general diagram that I have shown you. Specifically, if I'm talking about the Java, then in case of Java application server, this container area is actually referred as the EJB container. In case of a specific Java application, this area is what actually referred as the EJB container. Okay. First of all, everyone, do you know that what is the meaning of Java SE? Is that clear for all? What is the meaning of Java SE? I think this is clear for all. Yes. Simple J111 and half of the SB101 is on that standard edition. In the standard edition, we are having from basic, and from basic to what we are going to the final end, where actually we were talking about, you can say that collection framework. Yet further topics are there, but no need to worry. Okay. Have you listened about one more thing, that is Java EE, Java Enterprise Edition? It is Enterprise Edition. So can I say, because the name is Enterprise Edition, so definitely this is something that is to be used to create the big enterprise applications. Yes or no? Using Java Standard Edition, maximum you can create actually only desktop applications, console-based applications, but and they are actually not going to be so large. But if we wanted to create the big applications, then to create the big applications, we have to talk about the Java EE. That actually stands for Java Enterprise Edition. And if I'm talking about the Java EE, this is something that is actually the old name. If I'm talking about the modern name, then the modern name is actually referred as the Jakarta EE. The modern name is actually referred as the Jakarta EE. See, this is the correct name right now, Jakarta EE. Why exactly Jakarta EE is the new name that is chosen for the same thing? So there is some licensing issues. Actually, what happened? Initially, Sun Microsystem launched Java in 1995. Thereafter, in 2010, Sun Microsystem was taken over by Oracle Corporation. And because Oracle Corporation taken over the Sun Microsystem, so the word Java was trademark of Oracle Corporation. If something is trademark or if something is copyright, then definitely without the written permission, nobody other can use that term. Yes or no? No other company, no other organization can use any copyrighted term. Then what happened in the 2017? Oracle decided that all the Java Enterprise Edition related work, we are transferring to another organization, and this another organization is called Apache Foundation. So since the 2017, who is taking care for the Java Enterprise Edition? It is actually Apache Foundation who is taking care. But now there was a conflict. Apache Foundation says that you are transferring everything to us, but you are not transferring the Java name to us. So there was conflict. Apache Foundation and Oracle Corporation, they were in the ruckus. But ultimately, Oracle Corporation was not ready to release the word Java from its copyright laws. So finally, what was the consent? The consent was that Oracle Corporation says, okay, I'm not going to release the Java word for you, but in the modern version, you can rename the Java to Jakarta. So if we are talking about the Java, then legally Java belongs to Oracle Corporation. And when I'm talking about the Jakarta, then the Jakarta actually belong to Apache Tomcat. Yet actually Java Enterprise Edition and Jakarta Enterprise Edition, they are the same thing. But due to that legal dispute, Apache Foundation uses the Jakarta term, not Java term. Is that okay? Yes, it is. So Jakarta EE, Java EE, definitely both are same. Nowadays, Jakarta EE is the correct term. And if you are having Apache Tomcat version 10.0 or more, then for the Apache Tomcat version 10.0 or more, then you have to use Jakarta as name. And all the packages that were containing Java X, they were actually renamed to Jakarta X. Like if I'm talking about one of the package, the old package was available, that is Java X dot servlet package. Now, if I'm talking about the new name, Java X.Servlet package was the new name. And if I'm talking about the new name, then definitely the new name is going to be Jakarta.Servlet. So this is the naming convention that you will find almost everywhere. Why exactly I am telling you this thing? On the internet, if you are going to do some self-study, there you might get confused that, sir, on some websites, Java X is written. On some websites, Jakarta is written. Which one is right? Answer is both are right. But if your Tomcat version is 10 or more, then Jakarta is the correct name. Is that clear? And nowadays you have to use Jakarta only, do not use Java X. This is one thing that actually you should take care. So all that legal battle was there, but let it be. This is not our part, just actually that basic knowledge is more than sufficient for us. Okay, this is something that is done. So Jakarta X, Java X, sublets is done. So when I'm talking about the Java, so into the Java, if I'm talking about the processing of the content, for the processing of the content, there is one thing available that is called the EJB container. EJB term stands for Enterprise Java Bean. EJB term actually stands for Enterprise Java Beans. Those who have gone through the Notion notes, those who have gone through the Notion notes, they come across this diagram also. This diagram is nothing special, somewhat same as what we have already discussed. In this diagram, can you see that whenever a client is sending the request, then the request is first provided to the web container? Can you see one thing that first the request is actually provided to the web container? Answer is yes. The web container is actually capable to access the database. Yes or no? The web container is capable to access the database. It is forwarding the request to the database. Let it be, no problem. Then everyone here actually, you can see one more thing that this RDBMS is actually using JDBC to establish the connection. That's perfect. And there is EJB container available that is providing database related services. Similarly, that EJB container will provide transaction related services. That EJB container will say that I will provide you authorization and authentication related services. The EJB container says that I will provide you messaging related services. So overall, the EJB container says that in your application, if you are using 20 services, I will provide you all the 20 services. Please do not worry about them. You just focus on your business logic. Is that line clear? So before EJB, a developer has to configure each and every service, and he has to take care about each and every part. So don't you think that before EJB container, life was extremely difficult? Being a developer does not mean only developer. You have to configure a lot of service also. Then you have to go to your business logic, and then you have to deliver the application. And hosting is also going to be a complicated one. So EJB container actually provide a lot of services that are required for the web application development. But being as a developer, the services will be available to us directly. We don't have to take care how the services are implemented. We just have to use them. Is that clear, everyone? What is the role of EJB container? Is that clear? See, so about the EJB container, you can see that container also provides standardized access to enterprise information system. For example, providing RDBMS access through JDBC API. Container also provide mechanism for selecting application behavior at assembly and deployment point. So EJB container was an important term. Rest is some theoretical part is there that you can already study. But if you are actually already agree with this, then definitely, if you have already gone through the class properly, then there will be no problem for you. There will be no problem for you. So container, what exactly EJB container is providing, this is something discussed. Then actually, see, internet was available somewhat in year 1987. HTML was available in 1991. Internet became popular in the Europe and US approximately in 1994 and onwards. It was turning very popular. And when it was turning very popular, so initially the applications available, they were static applications. But once in the 1996, the first attempt was made to create dynamic application using the CGI system. The first attempt was made. And when the first attempt was made, it was although not very successful, but actually it opened a pathway that yes, we can create the dynamic applications on the web in which content management will be very, very easy. Java also analyzes that yes, this is something that is very much in demand in future. So better to work on that. So in 1999, I'm talking about the year 1999, 1999. There was one thing available that is called servlet. So servlet was a technology that was developed. So servlet actually developed by that time Sun Micro system to create dynamic web pages using Java. In 1999, it was developed. If I'm talking about the servlet, so simple actually, you can understand that servlet is actually all about HTML in Java. And definitely it was complex to manage. Or you can say simple, it was that is complex to Right, this is one thing that is available. Then it comes the next year, and the next year is going to be the 2000. If I'm talking about the next year, that is 2000, then definitely there is one more thing that was developed, and the next thing that developed was JSP. So if I'm talking about the next thing, so definitely the next thing, JSP, was actually developed by again Sun Microsystem to create the dynamic web pages using Java, but this was comparatively easier to manage. And if I'm talking about the JSP, then definitely the JSP is all about Java in HTML. JSP is all about Java in HTML, and it was something that is actually easier to manage. It was something easier to manage. Then everyone in between of that, some frameworks were available, they were coming, they were going. Then there was a revolution in year 2004. In the 2004, there was one framework available. The name of the framework is Spring. And the Spring is actually created by one person. The name of the person is called Rod Johnson. And if I'm talking about the initial name, if I'm talking about initial name of Spring, then the initial name of the Spring was actually Interface 21. Let me actually just cross check. It was Interface 21 or some other name. Interface 2, Interface 21 was the exact name. So one framework was available. Initial name was Interface 21. Spring was the framework. And Spring actually revolutionized everything in the Java development. How? What are the advantages it is opening? How exactly it is working? Everything I will talk to you. But initially, some common advantages I am going to write for you. So about the Spring, please read one by one. First number point. Rod Johnson developed a framework called Interface 21, rename it to Spring, and release it in the mid of 2004. It is an application framework software to develop enterprise application. The software community treat Spring as a framework because it gives the support of various other framework like Hibernate, Struts, JSF, etc. Spring is an open source lightweight application that can be used in all the layers of a Java-based business application, i.e. presentation layer, business logic layer, service layer, data access layer. Fourth number point. See, by looking at the third point, can you see that our application will be divided into 3 layers as we have already done in SB 101? Yes or no? JDBC application, presentation layer, or UI layer, service layer, and then DAO layer. Remember, the DAO layer is nothing but persistence layer. Service layer is definitely service layer, and UI layer is the presentation layer. UI layer is the presentation layer. Then Spring Framework allow to write business logic of an business application in a Pojo class. Its Spring container provide other services with less processing overhead. Well, it is turning actually theory. Then the last point is more important, that is no need to install any server. No need to install any server to develop and run business logic. This is something that actually we have written about the Spring. So this is initial thing that is all about the Spring introduction. Same thing is available here. Name is Interface 21. Spring mid of 2004 is available. Spring actually make programming code easier, safer to everyone. Spring focus is speed, simplicity, and productivity. Okay, first thing, if you wanted to develop a Spring application, no need to install anything. No need to install anything. Do you know how to add dependency in the Hibernate, in the Maven? Do you know how to add dependency in the Maven? Have you added JSP dependency? Have you added JDBC dependency, Hibernate dependency? Dependency tag is there, dependency group ID, artifact ID, version. Yes, inside the form, within the dependencies tag. Same thing, same thing. If you wanted to create a Spring application, no need to install anything, just Spring dependency you have to take from the MVN repository and you have to attach the same to your project. Is that clear? You have to attach the same to your project. This is the first thing that actually you have to do. Okay. Before actually going for development of the Spring application, it will be good to discuss about the architecture of the Spring framework. In the architecture of the Spring framework, this diagram is clearly visible to you. In the clearly this diagram, you can see that Spring AOP, aspect-oriented programming, used to address the cross-cutting concerns. Spring ORM, object relationship mapping, Spring DAO, Spring Webflow, Spring Context, Spring Web MVC, and Spring Core is the foundation for all. Spring Core is the foundation for all. So what exactly the cases see here? The architecture of Spring framework. First point, with the help of Spring framework, we can develop all type of Java application like desktop applications, remoting applications, web application, enterprise application, etc. Spring follow the modular architecture, which means Spring has several modules to develop a Java application based on the requirement. We can choose either all the modules or we can choose some specific module to develop an application. Some of the Spring modules are, the first one is extremely important. Spring Core module. This is base module for remaining other modules. Second, AOP, aspect-oriented programming module, to supply the middleware service in a cross-cutting concerned fashion out of your syllabus. JDBC and DAO module to develop a data access layer using JDBC. ORM module to develop a data access layer using ORM approach. Web MVC module to develop the presentation layer in an easy manner using MVC architecture. Test module to conduct the unit test by using the mock object. So listen, Spring Core is something that is required by all. Rest of the module based on your demand you can include. If you wanted to include, then well and good. If you do not want it to include, then no problem. So can I say this is something very much like a plug and play system? Whatever you wanted to use, inject that dependency. If you do not want it to use, then remove that dependency. So plug and play system is available that will keep overall your application a lightweight application. Okay. So we have done a lot of things about the theory. Will it be good to take some coding examples? Ready? Lot of theory we have done. So it will be good to talk about some coding examples. Okay. Before talking about the coding examples, the very first thing that actually I wanted to discuss with you regarding the coding is, see here everyone. For example, let's say that I am having a class A. Into the class A, nothing special, that actually I have created a method. Let's say that the name of the method I am writing is void fun. And I'm writing here, this is going to be the system.out.println. And into the system.out.println, let's say that I'm writing inside fun of class A. I'm writing inside fun of class A. Then there is one more class available. The name of the class that I'm writing is class B. I need to write down class B. Okay. If I wanted to call the fun method of class A in the class B, then do I need an object of class A? Yes or no? To access the fun method or to call the fun method of class A in the class B, do I need an object of class A? Answer is yes. Okay. So let's say that if I'm defining the object of class A in this manner, then can I say this is going to be has a relationship? Yes or no? Yes, it is. Whenever in Java programming, one object contains another object. So whenever one object actually contains the another object, then this is something you can say that going to be a case of has a relationship. Okay. So case of has a relationship is available here. So what actually we can do? We are writing a small a equal to new capital A. Thereafter, let's say that there is a method available. The name of the method I am writing is void foo method. In the void foo method, nothing special. Using the object of class A, we are calling the fun method here. After calling the fun method, class demo is available. Within the class demo, I am writing here public static void main. After writing the public static void main, string args is available there. A. Then I'm writing here B, small b equal to new capital B. And after writing b small b equal to new capital B, thereafter we are writing this is going to be b dot foo is what exactly we are calling. This time everybody, if I'm talking about the output of this code, can I expect that output of this code is going to be inside fun colon a? Yes or no? Can I expect that the output is going to be inside fun colon a? Yes or no? Simple one. Because first we are having object of class B. Using the object of class B, we are calling the foo method. In the foo method, then we are calling the fun method. Then we are calling the fun method. So when we are calling the fun method, then one more point that actually we have to think. Okay. This time, can I say that class B is depending on class A? Yes or no? Some more pointers. Can I say that because class B is actually using, or class B actually needs object of class A. So we can say that class B is dependent on class A. Class B is dependent on class A. This first point is clear, everyone? How to identify that who is dependent? Yes, it is. So first case is available. We can say that class B is depending on the class A. First part is done. Then going to the next section. And while going to the next section, I'm talking about the further part. And the further part is that everyone, this time, just actually simple thing I wanted to say you, the code is actually right now tightly coupled code. Why exactly I am writing it a tightly coupled code? Because the dependencies are directly mentioned in the code by mentioned in the class by programmer manually. So in future, when programmer wants to change dependency, then it has to actually make changes in the code. It has to make changes in the code, and definitely after making changes in the code, then definitely recompile the code, recompile, then definitely run, and then definitely recompile, then definitely you can say that deploy and install, etc. Deploy and install, etc. He has to do. Is that clear, everybody? Both the pointers? Regarding this example, everybody agree with the 2 pointers? The first pointer that I told you, that class B actually need object of class A. So definitely we can say that class B is dependent of class A. Here the code is right now a tightly coupled code because the dependency is directly injected. Okay. For example, let's say that I'm talking about a big project. In the big project, I am having 2000 classes. In the 2000 classes, lot of dependencies are there and all the dependencies are configured manually. Over a period of time, often it happens that we wanted to change the dependency. Every time manually changing the dependency, thereafter recompiling the code, thereafter installing the code, and thereafter restarting the server. Do you think it is practical approach in a live application? Everyone, what do you think? Is that a practical approach in the live application? 100% no. Definitely 100% no. This practice must not be followed. This practice must not be followed. Okay. This is the first case that we have taken. Now let me take one more example. Let me take one more example. If I'm talking about the one more example, so let's say there is a class available. The name of the class that actually I'm writing is car. Into the class car, for example, let's say there is a method available. The name of the method is called the ignite method. And if I'm talking about the ignite method, then in the ignite method, we can say that system dot, or it will be good to say there. Yeah, okay. So we can say that name of the method is called ignite method. And into the ignite method, let's say that I'm writing here, this is going to be system dot out dot println. Into the system dot out dot println, I'm writing one thing. The thing is going to be that is inside. See, let's say I'm writing that you can start car by pressing clutch and key. By pressing the catch, and you can say that rolling the key. Some message I'm writing. Okay. There is one class available. The name of the class is called car. One more class is available. The name of the class, let's say that I'm writing is bike class. Into the bike class, let's say again there is a method available. The name of the method that actually I'm writing is the start method. And into the start method, I'm writing the thing is that is system.out.println. And into the system.out.println, we can say that you can start. You can start bike, bike. You can start bike by pressing. You can say you can start bike by you can say that hitting kick or by self start. Okay. Then I'm talking about one class. The name of the class that I'm writing is, let's say that traveler class. And into the traveler class, let's say that this time the traveler is wants to move via the car. There are 4 number of passengers, and for the 4 number of passengers, it will be good to talk about the car class. So car class is available there, and after talking about the car class, then definitely we are writing, let's say there is a method available. The name of the method that I'm writing is the right method. And into the right method, let's say that using the object of C, I'm calling the one method. The name of the method that we are calling is the ignite method. The class is available. The name of the class again I'm writing is the demo class. Into the demo class, I'm writing this is going to be public static void main. And after public static void main, we are writing string args. Okay. I'm creating the object of traveler t1 equal to new traveler. Using this t1, if let's say that I'm calling the right method, what will be the output? Can you tell me? What will be the output? Will it call the method defined in car, that is the line number 204, or will it print the output defined in line number 210? Definitely, it will print the output that is defined in the line number 204. So if I'm talking about the output, then the output is going to be that you can start the car by pressing clutch and rolling the key. This is what actually we can do. Then going to the next section. Okay. This time everybody, again, can I say that traveler class is depending on the car class? Yes or no? This time, again, can I say that travel class is depending on the car class? Yes, it is. And again, can I say this is a tight coupling? Because in future, if a rider says that I'm the only one available, and because I'm only one available, so I wanted to use the bike. Now you have to open the traveler class. You have to comment the car class. After commenting the car class, you have to inject the dependency for the bike. And after injecting the dependency for the bike, then definitely you have to change the method call here also. Is that clear? The above example is also a tightly coupled code because in future, if user, if let's say that user wants to use bike for riding, then actually we have to manually open the code or and make necessary changes like class traveler is what actually we have to write down again. And into the class traveler, I wanted to create the object of bike b equal to new bike. And using the bike, actually, then I need to call the method. Let's say that name of the method I'm calling is the start method. This is what I have to do. Again, in future, let's say that if the number of passengers are more, then again, I have to make changes. So do you think this is a feasible approach in a real-time environment when a lot of customers are there? Yes, it is. So if I'm talking about the better example, or if I'm talking about the better code, that is actually loosely coupled. For the loosely coupled code, so this time what exactly I am going to do, I am talking about one interface. Let's say that the name of the interface that I'm writing is vehicle. There is one interface available. Name of the interface that actually we are writing is going to be vehicle. Into the vehicle, let's say there is one method available. The name of the method is going to be start right. And this time we are doing one job. The job that actually we are doing is everybody class car. The class car actually implements the interface that is called the vehicle interface. Similarly, everyone, there is class bike available. The class bike actually implements one more interface, and the name of the interface is again called the vehicle interface. And definitely, if vehicle interface is there, then it has to actually implement the start right method. Into the start right method, nothing special actually we are doing. We are just doing a simple job. We are calling the ignite method from here. We are doing nothing special. We are just calling the ignite method from here, and the same story we are repeating in case of bike class also. First, please take a look. There is one interface available. The name of the interface is called vehicle interface. In the vehicle interface, there is one method available that is called the start right. Class car is available that implements vehicle. It actually provides the definition of start right by calling the ignite method. Bike class is also available. The bike class also implements the vehicle interface. It is also providing the definition of the start right method. This time I am just asking a very simple question to you. The very simple question I am asking to you is, using the reference variable of vehicle, can I point to object of car class? Using the reference variable of vehicle, can I point to object of car class? That's good. Using the reference variable of vehicle, can I point to object of bike class? Answer is yes. So definitely, this time what exactly I am going to do into the traveler class. So the class that actually I am creating is going to be the traveler class. Into the traveler class, instead of creating object of any specific implementation, this time I am creating actually object of a reference variable of interface. This time I am creating a reference variable of interface. And when I'm creating the reference variable of interface, everybody, then you can see one thing, that here actually I am saying that while creating the object, you should pass the specific implementation. You should pass the specific implementation. And thereafter, everyone, if I am talking about the method that is called the ride method, into the ride method, nothing special I am doing using the object of vehicle. We are calling the method. The name of the method is going to be the start ride method. Is that clear? Okay, everybody, this code. That's good. Now, if I'm talking about the public static void main, then in case of the public static void main, this time you can see that I will be able to enjoy a lot of flexibility. Why exactly I am able to enjoy a lot of flexibility? For example, let's say for the traveler T1, for the traveler T1, let's say there are 4 passengers are available. So in case of the 4 passengers, can I pass the object of car here? Please check. Yes, it is. Definitely we can do that. Then we are calling that even dot write. And when we are calling that even dot write, then can I expect the output will be line number 250, that you can start car by pressing clutch and rolling the key? Yes or no? This is one output I can have. Now there is a next set of traveler available. The next set of traveler says that we are only one, I am only one passenger available. I wanted to use the bike. You will say, sir, no problem this time. Directly what I will do, I will pass the object of bike from here, because bike is also implementing the vehicle interface. So definitely the reference variable of an interface can point to object of implementing class. Using this, when start right method will be called, then I will get the output that you can start by hitting a kick or by self start. So 3 codes were available in front of you. Just moving one by one. 3 codes are available in front of you. Just actually I am moving one by one. If I'm talking about the very first code, then by looking at the very first code, which one is dependent class? Can you spot this? Which one is dependent class? Can you spot this? Yes, it is. Thereafter, everyone, second case, when I was creating the car and bike separately, and thereafter, if I'm using the object of the specific class directly, then what is the problem? It is making code tightly coupled. Is that clear? Why? Because in future, if there is new implementation available or there is a new demand available, then you have to make changes in the code. Yes, it is. Then if I'm talking about the better example, that is the example of loose coupling. I have used an interface. and such that I have never used object of a specific implementing class directly, I am always using the reference variable of the interface. Is that clear? Yes, it is. So interface vehicle is available, void start ride is available, class car that implements vehicle interface, void ignite is there, then override is there. And using the override, actually you can see that here you are having more control in the public static void main. And if you wanted to inject an object, then you can directly decide which object you wanted to inject. This is what actually referred as the loosely coupled system. Because in case of the loosely coupled system, if you wanted to make changes, then definitely to make changes, whenever you are making change, other modules are impacted minimum or other modules are not going to be impacted. Is that okay? What is the mean of tightly coupled system and loosely coupled system? Is that clear with this example? Yes or no? That's nice. And let me tell you one thing. So far, all that code that I'm writing, everything I'm doing manually, I'm passing the object of car class, I am passing the object of bike class, everything is done by me. So ultimately there is interference of programmer. Answer is yes. Ultimately, sir, if we are making changes in the public static void main class, then actually we have to recompile the code. Answer is yes. Then sir, what is the advantage? Advantage is that we do not have to recompile all the classes, only few classes, or where or I'm having a single point of control, you can say. Sir, is there any better solution available? Answer is yes. Because using the Spring framework, that job we are going to transfer to the Spring container. We will not do that job by our own. Spring container will inject the dependency for us and we will take all that example tomorrow. Clear everyone? What is the direction of tomorrow is? Tomorrow I will take first example of the Spring. There I will tell you that what is the demand of inversion of control is, how Spring container is very helpful in large applications, because right now we are taking small example, just 2 classes. What if 1000 classes are there? For the 1000 classes, option number 1, you are actually writing dependency for each and everything. You are writing dependency for each and everything. Option number 2, some module is doing the job for you automatically and it is doing the job very efficiently. So what you would love to do, manual or automatic? Automatic. Always keep in mind, we are talking about large applications. We are not talking about application only where some 20 objects are there. We are talking about an application where thousands of objects are there. So when you are having thousands of objects, then definitely making the things automatic is a better choice. Make sense? Yes, it is. That's nice, everyone. So I think that is sufficient for the day. This content will be uploaded with the today's lecture. Please go through the content very carefully. Now you are requested to go to the LMS platform, fill the feedback form. Or if you wanted to ask anything, then you can write on the chat also. Fill the feedback form, please. Once you have done with the feedback form, write down on the chat. Everyone, once you have done with the feedback form, please write down on the chat. Let me stop the recording.